So hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in today's podcast. My name is Fredrick Paulsen, and I work here at Ingram Micro on the HPE line, including their AI offerings and collaboration with NVIDIA. So I'm joined here today by Adi Raj, Solution Architect at HPE, who specializes in AI solutions. So thank you for joining us today, Adi. Um, so, as I'm sure you're aware, AI is rapidly becoming one of the most crucial conversations in business and empowering companies to enhance outcomes and innovate faster than ever before. So, HPE really understands the growing IT complexity involved in managing and implementing AI solutions. But for many, the adaptation and learning curve of AI can be overwhelming, and knowing where to start can be quite the challenge. Today, I want to dive into some of that and look at some of HPE's AI solutions and try to sort of help guide our partners on how they can begin their AI journey and who they can reach out to here at Ingram and at HPE. So again, thanks, Adi, for being here. I want to just start by saying I think we fully recognize right away when we're talking about AI how deep and technical these conversations can get. And I'd really like to keep this high level for our listeners and get an overall pictures of like the process of from development to deployment and how to develop their AI strategy. So for my first question and topic, really, I want to talk about use cases. I think it's a very important topic to start with, and it's crucial for our partners and listeners to understanding the possibilities of AI. I believe that the use cases is easily now into the thousands. Was into in the hundreds and now easily going in the thousands and surpassing that amount. And the demand for AI solutions obviously increases, and vendors like HPE are making turnkey solutions and making adaptation seamless, really. So, for my first question, when looking into industries horizontals like supply chain, customer experience, finance, to name a few, where are you seeing AI really make an impact right now? And could you share three of the most in-demand use cases that organizations are asking to help implement?
Yeah, for sure. And first of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. And to answer your question, yeah, it's very important to kind of identify what the possibilities are when it comes to AI. The list of use cases, as you mentioned, has now surpassed the hundreds, not thousands. But some of the most common use cases that we're seeing in industry right now include like implementing a ChatGPT style chatbot clone, which is a common use case that we see organizations trying to stand up and customize, allowing employees in an organization to kind of be able to chat and compare with multiple models in context with company information and IP in a secure manner. It's quite important since it can provide instant productivity for employees in various departments. We can show this by utilizing open source models, for example, from Hugging Face or NVIDIA NIMs that are deployed, managed, and monitored on top of HP's machine learning inference software, also known as MLIS. And these large language models can then be connected directly to appliances, for instance, Open Web UI, which provides ChatGPT style experience locally too. So another use case we see is a coding assistant for software engineers. So this typically allows developers to prototype, test their ideas, and ultimately develop features, which speeds up the software development lifecycle. When doing so, organizations getting started with AI may want to be able to host these LLMs in their data centers to control costs and have data privacy or have more visibility. So again, to showcase this to customers and partners, we utilize the same large language models which we are deploying on HP's MLIS software and connecting those large language models to coding assistants. So applications such as Continue.dev, which is a local coding assistant plugin used by developers worldwide, actually. So, and then also a third use case, I guess, we can go into is RAG. You might have heard of it.
Yeah.
RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and it's a technique that takes advantage of large language models to the next level. So instead of relying on static training data, it fetches relevant information from external sources like PDFs, databases, and other data sources that you would provide it or a company would provide. And typically it's unstructured data that might include IP that organization might have. So this in turn allows us to generate more accurate, more up-to-date and context-aware responses relevant to the user.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's really good three top use cases, and I think in line with I think what our listeners would probably be used to hearing. And as you were talking about the first one, I was actually recently talking to a friend of mine who works for a Canadian international logistics company, and like you mentioned, they actually implemented a chat GTP style clone, and they interconnected it to all their their databases and their old
Mhm.
systems, and they have legacy systems. And I think that's the harder part. First of all, is getting all that data combined. But this individual mentioned that it's a tool that adds so much value internally to searching internally and when they're looking up things, because everything is now connected, and it speeds up the efficiency quite a bit. So they were really impressed with how that works, and I think that's something that we're seeing more and more, those internal chat GTP style chat boxes to help with things like this. Um, great start. That kind of brings me to our next question, to my next question, and it's I'd like to touch more on industry vertical,
Mhm.
where AI adaptation is happening within different industries. Can you share maybe one specific use case that's making a real impact within that sector?
Yeah, for sure. So, in the healthcare industry, for example, we see technology such as OCR, which stands for optical character recognition. And what it does is it now uses large language models to convert images of typed, handwritten, or printed text into machine readable and easy to edit data. So, what that basically means is that OCR kind of transforms handwritten or scanned documents of photos, of text, or even image only PDFs into digital text that can then be searched and accessible to those who need it in a digital format. So for healthcare providers, this can be having access to critical patient information quickly and securely that ends up supporting better clinical decisions or diagnoses and improving patient care. So this can even be combined with the use case that we previously mentioned, for example, with RAG-based applications, and like kind of chat with that OCR documents. But even outside of the healthcare industry, the public sector, such as like police departments, DMVs, or even the insurance industry, where we have to fill out handwritten forms or provide scanned documents for claims. OCR is making a lot of headway in. So OCR is making a lot of impact in the healthcare industry, but as you can see, it can be extended to multiple industry verticals as well.
Yeah, for sure. I can absolutely seeing it being applied to so many industries. And as you're talking about that, I was thinking about how many years, did we, organizations just write down all the information. And when you think about it, a lot of that info is still pertinent to keep in their systems, and just being able to scan that and then enter it and then be able to search for it by adding other tools is, yeah, very, very, very impactful for companies today. Great information so far. I'd like to move on to our next topic, which is really the essential part to helping build AI blueprints, I think, and allow partners to offer solutions to their customers when seeking a desired specific outcome, right? So the solution itself from HPE. My question is around this, and how can partners and their customers go from use case to from and prototyping to production? And can you give us a brief overview of how HP is providing these solutions, or even better, is there a specific solution that you can talk about?
Yeah, for sure. So HP kind of has what we call PCAI now, which stands for Private Cloud AI. And it's a HP full stack private cloud solution co-developed and designed with NVIDIA to make it kind of turnkey. So to help, essentially is to help accelerate organizations' AI initiatives. So as a fully integrated platform, PCAI brings together all necessary components being like infrastructure, software, and services to enable businesses to develop and deploy AI models and use cases quickly and efficiently. So PCAI provides a more controlled and predictable environment for AI workloads, which helps concerns around data sovereignty, data gravity, and security, but also cost. So PCI is ideal for businesses early in their AI journey and offers an easy to use interface that helps organizations support their AI initiatives from POC to production, while keeping in mind collaboration, governance, centralized management of AI resources, making it easier for organizations to build, deploy, and ultimately integrate with the fast-paced innovation we are seeing currently in the AI space.
Yep. I'm hearing a couple of key words in there that hopefully will resonate. Things like I think turnkey and making things faster, easier, will stand out in AI adoption, and especially things like keeping keeping it private, keeping that data private, not on the cloud, and secure and compliant. I think some of the most important concerns that we'll hear from customers and organizations today when implementing AI projects. How would you say HP is differentiating itself amongst others and what makes PCA AI unique?
Yeah, definitely. So PCI comes in pre-configured t-shirt sizes, being small, medium, and large. But also just recently we came out with the PCI Developer Edition, which is a size below small and more affordable to help organizations get started on their AI journey even faster. But because of these t-shirt sizes, it takes the complexity of figuring out the compute, the storage, the networking, the software and services that kind of goes into bringing these AI workloads into reality while providing predictable path to scale by upgrading to larger t-shirt sizes in the future after we see a successful implementation being brought up with PCAI. So, and also another thing to mention is our software. So we're kind of differentiated with software. So PCAI it comes with HP's own software called HP AI Essentials. And that's a software that we developed that takes out the complexity in standing up all these common industry standard tools and frameworks used in data preparation, model training, fine tuning. So, for example, like Jupyter Notebooks, Kubeflow, MLflow, and many other frameworks are kind of tied into one. But also being able to deploy and use large language models that we mentioned before. HPI Essentials also comes with MLIS, which we talked about earlier. And it's kind of all in one place, reducing complexity. And it's a complement to actually NVIDIA's software suite as well, being NVIDIA AI Enterprise, which is also included with PCI.
Yeah, nice. Being able to bring everything under one platform, I think, is really important than having so many different tools, which is, mostly what we see nowadays. So bringing it all together, and I think, what I took from that one is that, the growth, that'll help with the growth strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you mentioned like the small, the medium, and the large, and even smaller than that. Um, being able to, I guess, test the waters, seeing if it works, having a low entry point, and then, seamlessly scaling as customers need to grow in their project. I think that's really, really important in adopting AI. Um, so really, really great info so far, Addy. I think what I wanted to ask you now is, going from use case, which we've touched on, use cases and the solutions, and going from use case to solutions, where do you think we can, advise our partners and their customers on how to get started with us?
Yeah, definitely. So I highly recommend partners kind of looking at the PCAI briefcase and Seismic, as well as some tech talks that we have available to the partner community. But when partners are being involved by having these conversations around AI and ultimately probably cloud AI, a few customers' personas are crucial to engage with during the conversation. So these personas can sometimes include IT directors, line of business owners, data or machine learning engineers, but this can also even extend to end users using the developed use cases or even the software engineers. So going to a few of these personas, like the IT director, for example, they're typically concerned with technical aspects of the AI adoption, such as infrastructure costs, resource utilization, and data sovereignty. So they may struggle with public cloud limitations, including unpredictable costs and data gravity issues. Versus in contrast, if you compare that with the line business owner, they might be focused more so on the business outcomes and return on investment from AI investments going forward, while seeking to accelerate AI model development and deployment for a faster time to market and tangible business value. So they prioritize data security, compliance, and cost efficiency. Meanwhile, data engineers, they require efficient data integration, seamless data pipelines, and scalable infrastructure for model inference and serving, which we mentioned about this before with HPAI Essential software, which is included with PCI. It kind of helps with integrating and using these common tools and frameworks seamlessly. So by understanding the unique pain points and needs of each persona, partners can effectively communicate how PCI kind of addresses their challenges and deliver the performance, control, and cost efficiency required for these AI initiatives. So please engage with Ingram and HPE as we can kind of like help support partners with demos, developing customized use cases, and other resources as well to help make a customer's AI journey goals into reality.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely connecting with us on where you are at in your journey, I guess. And I wanted to touch on, what's really important with, selling AI solutions is that it's no longer a, tradition. It's no longer that same traditional conversation that partners are having anymore. It's not that transactional selling
Mhm.
boxes conversation. It's much more of a consultative approach, and it's really the only way to position these solutions. So it's really important when you talked about those personas, that who you're talking to at the other end of the line, that's really going to care about what you're saying, really, and where they're going to see the value implemented with these solutions. So you know I think I think that there's definitely a gap in organizations for the most part with AI, IT skills and deployment overall. So again, like you mentioned, I think that's the important thing that I want to and we want to convey today, is to really reach out to us. As Addie mentioned, there's all those tools and resources and HPE offers, and I want to also mention that here at Ingram Micro, in collaboration with HPE, we have an HPE AI workshop that's 1.5 days long, and is will take you one partner at a time through a creating your own AI blueprint. And there is limited spots for this workshop, and I do encourage you to reach out to us if that's something that interests you. So again, I want to thank you, Addie, for joining us today and covering all these topics and all these questions. And I also want to thank our listeners for tuning in and to listening up, and just to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. So thanks, Addie.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much.